Today we're going to be discussing 4F black powder and other possible uses other than just priming the pan of your flintlock. Since we make our own antique muzzleloading propellant, we have a lot of 4F powder left over after we sort all of our powder into sizes. Now, every time I show any 4F or mention it in a video, I find I get a bunch of comments from folks that say, well, can't you use that to prime your pan? How come you don't use that to prime your pan? I bet that would work great if you used it to prime your pan. And yes, it most certainly works just fine. I just prefer to prime out of my horn. That's pretty much the way I've always shot, and I like doing that. It works out well for me. If you like using 4F to prime your pan, that's fine. Keep on doing that. But don't be mistaken in thinking that 4F powder is only used to prime flintlock pans, because it actually works well in almost anything.
What did you say?
Now, before I go any further, let me put the disclaimer on there that even though, yes, you can use 4F in just about any black powder firearm, that doesn't mean you'll get the best accuracy, the cleanest burning, and the best overall performance or velocity or whatever it is you're looking for in your black powder firearm. What we do when we make our powder and we sort it by size, the 4F that is left over after we do a test batch, and if our test batch of 3F gives us at least GoX performance and cleanliness, we will take our 4F and we'll throw it in our mixed 4F container. It says good on there, just in case you were wondering. And we will use this for all different kinds of stuff. In particular, it works really well in cap and ball revolvers. Now, I know there's a lot of folks that will say, well, you could use it in a cap and ball revolver, but you really need to use it in the 31 pocket guns or something.
Bullshit.
This will work bitchin' in any cap and ball revolver at almost any charge. So just for sport, I'm going to show you some 44 caliber cap and ball revolvers that we loaded our homemade 4F in, just to give it a try and show you how they work. Now, the firearms we're going to use for this video, both are 44 caliber. One is a 44 cal 1851 Navy made by Paeta, and the other is an 1860 Army, at least mostly, except it has a short 44 cal octagonal 1851 barrel on it, but don't let that fool you. It's mostly an 1860 Army. See that? That's 4F powder right there. Now, generally speaking, most people seem to think that 4F is only good for priming muskets, flintlocks, I should say, because not all muskets are flintlocks. But really, you could use 4F in just about anything, especially if you're in a pinch. We'll load those up and we'll fire them. All right, so we have two 44 caliber cap and ball pistols loaded with 4F. This is roughly what, 25, 30 grains, something like that?
Yeah, about 30.
So I'm editing this video right now, and I figured I should just probably check and see how much powder a full chamber worth is in this 44 cal Navy. And again, this is our 4F mixed powder. 35.5. And there looks like there's still a little bit in there on the walls, so I wouldn't be surprised if that's pretty close to 36.
30.
Let's see how it does. Let me try it right-handed, even though I'm not very good at that. This feels so strange. okay to me. Let's do that again.
You only missed one.
I only missed one?
Yep.
All right, so we've got these loaded up again with 4F. And let's see if I can't shoot them with both hands here, huh?
That wasn't that bad. I think you only missed two.
Well, it was a lot of fun anyway.
Oh, yeah.
And it proves the point that 4F will work just fine with just about anything with a cap or primer. With a flintlock, using it as a main charge, it'll work, but you'll have inconsistent velocities, which we've done a video on and we've shown. But 4F will work in any black powder firearm. It is not just only used for priming flintlock pans. You'll hear guys also say like, oh, you could use it in smaller caliber guns like 49 pockets, 31 caliber guns. It works in just about anything. So as you can see, that seemed to work just fine. Now, when we're just shooting at steel at 7 or 10 yards, just plinking out in the pasture, I don't need to measure out 25 grains or 20 grains or whatever. Generally, what I'll do, and you saw me do it there, is I'll just fill the chamber up all the way with it, slam a ball on top of it, and fire away and have a good damn time. And as you can see, that worked just fine. And again, those are 44 caliber firearms. And don't give me this bull. I don't know why I always get somebody. There's always at least one person that wants to correct me for calling a black powder firearm a firearm. I don't know what this deal is, and they always quote some deal with the ATF or some congressional hearing or something about how it's not a firearm, it's a gun. Look, I don't give two about what the ATF or Congress says about what is or ain't a firearm. I'm sorry, but that's ridiculous. The term firearm predates the ATF and even Congress in the United States of America. So I don't care. It's still a firearm. Now, I didn't chronograph any of those, and in retrospect, I kind of wish I did just so I could show you that it doesn't have some crazy velocity. Generally, it might be a little bit faster than the 3F load that you're probably used to using in your 1860 Army or your 51 Navy or whatever it is you're using. It doesn't have some crazy pressure spike. In my not so humble opinion, there is no safety issue with running 4F in a cap and ball revolver of any kind, shape, size, or caliber. Now, we have done tests in the past where we have tried 4F as a main charge in flintlocks and found we had completely inconsistent velocities, ranging from, if I remember right, and don't quote me, it was all the way from 15 all the way to 1700. It had a 200 plus feet per second spread. And I know there are folks out there that are totally okay with that, but that for me and all of my crew is completely unacceptable. We don't like to see extreme spreads over 50. And the reason why we suspect it had really inconsistent velocities is being that the granules are so small and they're packed so tight, and in a flintlock, you're dealing only with flame propagation from other powder. You don't have a primer that's lighting it. It was burning inconsistently because it's packed tight and there's just not enough room in between those granules for it to burn consistently. At least that's the theory. And Brett Gibbons from Paper Cartridges told me that, so I'm inclined to believe him. So there. But again, if all you have is 4F, or if you do make your own powder and you think that all you could use your 4F for is 4F4, that sounds funny. The only thing you could use your 4F powder on is priming your flintlock. That's really not the case. If you have a cap and ball revolver, it will work fine in there, just as good as 3F, maybe even a little bit better. Now, if you are one of the people that have been following along with this whole thing for the last couple years, you might think that mixing your powder might be a bad idea. You're going to get wide spreads, you're going to get inconsistent burn. But what we've found And again, we only mix powders that at least give us GoX performance or better. But what we have found is it actually works out pretty damn well. You generally will get a little bit wider spread. The last time we tried our mixed 3F in my Southern Mountain Rifle, we got a spread of 52, I believe it was. Now, there's two reasons why I think this works out at least what we would consider tolerable or acceptable, being, spreads right around 50 feet per second from shot to shot. Is one, all of our powder is compressed to the same density. All of our powder is compressed to a density of 1.75 grams per cubic centimeter. And two, all of our powder is sorted using the same screens and micron filter bags to get the particular size that we're dealing with. So even though in your charge of whatever firearm you're talking about, you might have granules in there that one is bamboo and the other one was made from cottonwood and the other one was made from cottonelle, and one granule might expel more gas and energy than the one right next to it. At least they're all the same size and the same density, and it seems to even out pretty good. Again, we do get a little bit wider spreads, but not by an unacceptable amount, at least not to what we would consider unacceptable. So I hope that was entertaining and instructive, and I hope that if there is someone out there who's sitting on a bunch of 4F that's looking for a reason to get rid of it, grab your 1851 Navy and load it up and give it a try. Trust me, it works fine. I know, dangerous words coming from some schmuck on the interweb, right? So as usual, folks, if you thought this video didn't suck, do me a favor and hit the like button and consider subscribing. And if you did think it sucked, go make your own damn video.